We're Marley and Marley. Ba-da-da-da.
There goes Mr. Humbug, there goes Mr. Grim. If they gave a prize for being mean, the winner...
Today we are talking about 1992's Muppet Christmas Carol. Now, if you don't know the plot of A Christmas Carol, please just go get your tubes tied. Stop watching this video and go wrap them up, because you don't deserve to have children. Unless, of course, you're a child who hasn't had the opportunity to read a Muppet Christmas Carol, then I take that back. Don't get your tubes tied. Read Christmas Carol. Did I say read a Muppet Christmas Carol? That's not what I meant. So the Muppet Christmas Carol is Christmas Carol with songs and Michael Caine, the way it always should be. I've seen my fair share of Christmas Carol movies, and this is definitely my favorite. Not only because it's Muppets, but because everyone was perfectly cast, and because they were Muppets. Now, for those of you that don't know, Muppet Christmas Carol was the first movie made without any of Jim's input because he died. A moment of silence. And this was the first movie made under the direction of Brian Henson and the Walt Disney Company. Because that grubby little mouse has to get his paws all over everything. Ruin it. Just ruin it. Kind of like Brian Henson. So this was the first movie made about the Muppets under the parent company, under the umbrella company, I guess. I don't know how you would phrase it. I'm not a businessman. But under the supervision and funding of the Walt Disney Company, because they took in the Jim Henson Company in 1991. After Jim died, and they were able to work everything out, because like the week he was going to sign the contract or something, I don't really remember the details, but the week he was going to sign his soul over to the devil was also the week he died. It was fate. It was fate telling us that the Walt Disney Company should never have owned the Muppets, the rights to the Muppets, any of them. But did anybody listen? No. Because all of his rotten kids are just money-grabbing dirtbags. Don't appreciate what they had as a father. I would have. Anyway, this has become too much of a personal vendetta video about the Henson family. This film and the Disney Company came more Disney-fied songs. You can kind of feel it. As opposed to the first three movies that Jim made with the Muppets. It doesn't really feel as Disney as this one definitely feels. That being said, they did a marvelous job with the Ghost of Christmas Future, because he's terrifying. I mean, that's the scariest part of the entire story, is when he goes into the future and finds out he's going to be dead by next Christmas, but it was genuinely terrifying, and I'm glad they kept it that way. So now that Muppet Fact Hour is done, I will tell you that I loved this movie because it was before the Muppets got bad. Now, the Muppets redeemed themselves, I think, with the Muppets, the new movie that came out in 2011, because Jason Segel was responsible for it, and he truly was, like, in love with the Muppets in the same way I and Jim were in love with the Muppets. But not the way Brian was in love with the Muppets and agreed to make shit like Muppets from Space and the Muppet Wizard of Oz, like all those stupid Pizza Hut commercials with Jessica Simpson. Never forget. Because there was still input from Frank Oz, because Frank Oz was actively involved in this film. I think that's why it remained a Muppet-like film, you know? It felt like the old movies, and they just did a really good job of preserving the memory of Jim in this one particularly, I think. The songs were great, very catchy, truly hilarious. The back and forth between Rizzo and Gonzo the entire time, not to mention Michael Caine's presence, made the film for me. I mean, it's wonderful, and I love it, and I would love it anyway, but just those two elements of the film definitely make it flawless. It's a Muppet movie, you know, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna make you laugh, it's gonna make you probably cry a little bit. You're going to get so emotionally attached to Michael Caine if you're not already as a human. It's fun for the whole family, the way all Muppet movies are intended to be. I mean, I watch it every year on Christmas Eve on my phone on YouTube. It's one of my personal favorite holiday things to do. I've got my obvious issues with the Walt Disney Company's possession of the Muppets, as well as with Brian Henson as a human, but that's just stuff I need to work out in therapy. Goddamn trains.
He had put a fart machine into my sleeping bag.